Welcome to the United Constitutional Patriots Radio Show with your host, Johnny. Today we'll be talking about the border as usual and all the issues within America and around the world that are going on right now. So I will now turn it over to Johnny. So here's Johnny.
Thank you, Pete. I appreciate it. How are you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Got a lot on our show tonight, but first I want to welcome the United Constitutional Patriot Group. We have new news, we have vetted news, and we do have guests on at times. Tonight, however, we have quite a bit of stuff to cover, which a lot of it backs what we have been trying to tell people. Now things are happening on the border big time of New Mexico. Nuclear Warrior will give you the reports on that. However, I'll just touch on it for a few seconds. They arrested 280 or 90 people last night down around in the Antelope Wells area. He will actually be able to read the report if he can get into it a little bit later. But our group that's on the way here broke down in El Paso. We're just waiting for them to get their vehicle fixed, and then they're on their way up here. I was notified they were supposed to have been here yesterday, but they have assured me they are on their way, but they did have vehicle problems, and they broke down. They're in a convoy of 50 people, so or more, so we can't really get too upset. You know, when one breaks down, they all stop, help, get him on the road, and then they head on up. Anyway, we are still needing help on the border in the worst way. I do want to bring up something. If another radio show pops up, the United Constitutional Patriots of America, it is not us. There's another group that think that they can pull our listeners. I don't believe they're gonna even get as far as trying to get the radio show up, because we are registered and we are certified through the state and through the federal government. But I just want to let you know, folks, if you get alerts of the United Constitutional Patriots of America, that is not our group. Ours is the United Constitutional Patriots. We're in New Mexico. I will be given some information and updates here in a little while, but if Nuclear Warrior is ready, he has quite a bit of stuff that he needs to cover. Are you ready yet, or you want me to keep going, Nuclear Warrior?
I'm ready, Johnny.
Okay. This is news, folks, this is vetted news, it's true news, and there is no doubt about the news, and this you're going to like. So go ahead, Nuclear Warrior.
Okay, thanks, Commander. First of all, I'm going to reiterate what the commander stated about the other group trying to pull our customer or our listener base. United Constitutional Patriots is a copyrighted name for our group. They think they're going to get around that by using United Constitutional Patriots of America. It may or may not fly because our group is national. So more on that later. Right now, this got posted to our war room earlier today and was vetted and cleared for release. So I'll start it. Making America great again might be around the corner. No disrespect, but as far as I'm concerned, after the 21st, which is the 30th day of the shutdown, Trump will announce those who have been out of work for many more will be RFD. In case folks do not know what that means, it means their jobs are gone and they cannot be replaced. It is part of what is called draining the swamp. That is just the beginning. Many, such as the Bushes, Obamas, Clintons, Bidens, Cheneys, Brennans, Clappers, Feinstein, Pelosi, Schumer, Comey, and lots of others, will be indicted for pedophilia, treason, and sedition. It will be a time of reclaiming our country. The Fed and the IRS will be torn down. States will be taxing instead. Federal taxes only support the Fed, not the government. No, wait. Due to voter fraud, There will be many special elections to fill the chairs of all the congressmen and women and senators who cheated to win their seats, or those who lied about their allegiance to the country. What you think? Is Trump smart or what? Might have said too much, but that's the politics for today. Well, unless our friends disagree. So with that, I want to pass this over to Chuck briefly. He's got some interesting stuff he wants to toss out there as well. And then he can hand it back to me, and I'll continue on with more of the latest news. Go ahead there, Chuck.
All righty. Well, okay. You just heard what Nuclear Warrior just read, and that was posted in our war room earlier by someone higher up. Let's put it that way. Okay, and you heard what they said. Okay, now I'm going to read to you, and I'm going to share with you what I wrote on my wall this morning, long before that was posted, and we'll see how well it matches up. Because we've had a lot of talk about the shutdown and about the border wall, and that the president was determined to get the border wall, and that was the reason for the shutdown. And some are wanting the shutdown to end. Let me tell you something. There's a little bit more to it than just the border wall. Okay, this is what I wrote. Said, let me put it this way. If you knew the real reason for the shutdown, you would want it to continue for a few more days. Okay? You see, the wall was the distraction, and letting the Democrats and the MSM, the mainstream media, blame him, the president, for the shutdown was the bait. Now, what am I talking about? Well, okay, and they swallowed the bait, believe me. So what am I talking about? Well, you see, the president never needed a shutdown or a state of emergency to get the wall funding, because it's been there all the time. He already has it it's in the Department of Homeland Security budget, it's in the military budget, and if you'll remember, he said and Q said, both of them said, that the military would build the wall. So, he already has it. He's always had it. So, what's the real reason for the shutdown? Okay. First of all, remember that it all started with a meeting that President Trump had in the Oval Office with Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. And those two were kind of caught with their pants down, so to speak, and you can see it on their face and what have you if you watch the video of that meeting. Because what happened was that the president, after informing them that the meeting would be in private, arranged for the media, the mainstream news media, to be there. And there was a purpose for that. Okay? And you'll remember that the president made the statement. He said, I'm perfectly willing to shut down the government, Chuck. You can go ahead and blame me for it. I'll take responsibility for the shutdown because the people, the American people, want the border wall. They want the security. So I'll take full responsibility for it. Well, what he did right there, that was the bait. Because that gave both Chuck and Nancy and the mainstream media the opportunity to go ahead and blame him for the shutdown, which they've been doing. And I noticed today Chuck is still saying, hey, we've got to remain strong during the shutdown. In other words, no wall funding, right? Well, guess what happens? You see, the president, in doing all that, he led him into a trap. Because in just a few more days, I think it's either 3 or 4 days, the shutdown is going to reach 30 days. When it does that, you have 800,000, more or less, federal employees, non-essential federal employees, okay? Non-essential meaning that they don't need to be there. One wonders why, if they're non-essential, if they're not essential to operating the government, why are they there? And why is the taxpayer paying for it? Well, after once the shutdown reaches 30 days, you have 800,000 currently furloughed, non-essential government employees that will become permanent layoffs. Hence, no jobs, 800,000 less federal employees that the American taxpayer has to pay for. It's called a RIF, or a reduction in force. This is the way the president, at least for this part of it, intends to reduce the size of government, and it basically cuts off the deep state. It cuts the head off the deep state. Okay. Okay. So the president set the trap, and they fell into it. Okay. So I'll that was what I wrote this morning, and I'll send it back to Nuclear Warrior now.
Okay, thank you, Chuck. Am I still able to be heard?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Now, earlier today, this morning, I believe, Border Patrol agents in New Mexico encountered a large group of undocumented immigrants allegedly trying to get smuggled into the U.S. Group, consisting of 247 people, turned itself into the authorities near the Antelope Wells port of entry just after midnight this morning, January 16. The Border Patrol said the majority of the individuals in the group are from Central America. After they turned themselves in, the group immediately claimed the need for medical care. The group included family groups with small children, as well as teenagers without a parent or guardian. Since the start of the fiscal year 2019, criminal organizers are responsible for at least 24 large groups of illegals that have been trafficked into the Lordsburg, New Mexico area. That's from the Border Patrol. Unscrupulous organized smugglers are exploiting the area and the proximity to the border to move large groups of people. The Border Patrol said the groups of undocumented migrants are told where to cross and turn themselves into the authorities. So, let me get to the rest of the article here. This is kind of an interesting point. The 7-year-old girl from Guatemala died in Border Patrol custody. The girl and her father entered the U.S. not far from the Antelope Wells port of entry. Okay, that's it for that particular piece of news. This is really interesting. In Cummings, Georgia, following on a tip to authorities, a man from Georgia has been arrested in a terror plot that allegedly targeted federal buildings, including the White House. The suspect has been identified as 21-year-old Hasher Jalal Tiab of Cumming, Georgia. He appeared in federal court in Atlanta Wednesday, today. According to U.S. Attorney Pack, Taheb is charged with intent to destroy by fire or explosive a building owned, possessed, or leased by the United States or any department or agency thereof, or any institution or organizations receiving federal finance assistance, among other charges. He allegedly intended to use an anti-tank rocket to carry the attacks. Anti-tank rockets are man-portable rockets designed to be able to defeat armored vehicles. It was unclear if he ever obtained the weapon. Officials believe he was acting alone, but they're still looking into it. So, let's get on with further news here.
He is coming back here in a second, folks. He's scrolling, I think.
Yes, sir. Scrolling, finding the next hot news topic.
Well, while we're waiting on that, I'll answer a couple questions here that have been answered here. Okay, Mary Murray says they are starting new construction on the border wall in Tijuana. That is really good news. Jared Ross, got your message here. You broke down in El Paso. Patriots, pray for me and my group. We're trying to get there. Okay, they have to come here to be vetted. They are, I don't know if you met El Paso or not, but they went way south, but they have to come up to Farmington so we can get them vetted and everything taken care of there, but they are in the area. He had to order an alternator and radiator, hoping it will be here tomorrow before the snow hits. I don't believe you're going to get any snow down on if you're that far south, Jared. But let us know, and we'll do what we can to help you. So, are you ready, Nuclear Warrior?
Yes, sir. Okay. This is written by a rancher's wife near El Indio, Texas, and she asked us to post this in our radio room and to broadcast it on the show tonight. And I'm going to quote it from her. I live on the border, and no one but us knows what is happening. America first. I live a half mile from the border in El Indio, Texas. Last week, we had over 40 people pass through our ranch. One group of about 15 men pulled a gun on my husband and had a 13-year-old Mexican girl that they kidnapped from Guerrero, Mexico. She had blood all over her and had urinated on herself. My husband was able to, with the help of Border Patrol agents in a helicopter who passed over, get the gun from the illegal man. He was a Honduran, and they rushed the poor girl to the emergency room for help because she had, in fact, been kidnapped and gang raped by these men. This is just one of many stories we have. 2 nights ago, 3 men came up to our house. One of them was an elderly man who was almost dead. We gave them water and protein bars, called the Border Patrol and 911 for the man to go to the emergency room. We are kind people and believe in helping people in need, but there have been 3 attacks on my husband on our ranch, 2 of which were directly at my home in the last 3 months. And that really means something because we are considered an area that does not need a lot of help. I got so mad when I watched and heard what Pelosi and Schumer said concerning Trump's manufactured drama with the border. That is such garbage. They are ignorant liars. How many people have to be hurt or attacked? There has to be someone in our government who stands up and helps our Border Patrol. From Eagle Pass to Laredo, there are only 3 to 5 guys on call, and it could be 2 guys against a group of 50 plus. It's horrible. We need help. The wall needs to be built, not at the port of entries, but between them. Pelosi is a moron if she thinks that added more security at the borders will help because, hello, Nancy, they are not coming through the borders. They are coming through the mesquite and the brush. So there you have it. That's a firsthand accounting of what our volunteer patriots are going to possibly encounter down on the New Mexico border here shortly. Antelope Wells was one of the spots that I had mentioned would be a very likely a breach point, and it has just come to pass that I was kind of spot on that. So hopefully we'll get help down there soon to at least keep eyes on there so we can call for the reinforcements if we need to. And it's getting right down to the wire because there's another caravan trying to make its way up through the southern border of Mexico to join the rest of these outlaws on the other side of the border. So say your prayers, folks, that we end up not needing to go to war on the border. I think that's all the news I've got for the moment there, Commander. If you want to take it back and hand it off for comments to somebody, Greg usually has some good information for us as well.
Okay. Folks, first let me, I waited purposely till we had people in on our lines and our show listening and getting your marks. Hey, your questions and your responses, your information, type it in, and I will answer it the best I can. However, here's what our situation is with a lot of what's going on. We are shorthanded on the border. New Mexico needs men. We need supplies, and we drastically need donations. And I'll tell you here in a few minutes how to do that. But first, I want to welcome my friends out of Louisiana. Very great couple down there, TJ and her husband. What I want to say is, we're reaching a lot of people nationwide. We're getting a lot of coverage, and a lot of people are responding, and we are getting donations, and they all go to help the men on the border. The support we get from the detectives and the people down in St. Bernard Parish down in Louisiana. There's some great people down there, and I appreciate you and everybody on our staff and the United Constitutional Patriots, which you are doing for us and helping push our station to where we can get out to more people and get information to you. That's what we're about, folks. We're not just about just giving information, though. We are about protecting the constitutional rights of every American. That's why we're on the border. That's why we have boots on the ground on the border. That's why men are willing to give their lives again. I'm saying again because a lot of them are veterans who fought overseas. They're fighting again, but this time they're not being paid. We get a lot of thank yous from the people, our listeners, and it is so highly appreciated that you do recognize what is going on. But you got to recognize too that if we don't get these donations in here, it makes it short. So when the men on the border do need something, if we don't have the funds to send to them, we got a real problem, because they're on the border living in tents, cooking in tents. They're not in motels, eating in restaurants. They are out there in the open elements. They are sitting, watching for the caravan to get here, watching for the illegals that are coming in, trying to stop this child trafficking that's really bad coming through Mexico. We do have the trails and stuff where we're bringing them in. They've never been stopped. It's the first time they're being stopped is by us. Because we got word too late. There was 390 of them came in. We were supposed to have been warned before they got here, but they told us after they came in, well, they're already in the United States. And it literally burned some people up. People are asking me for my zip code. It's 87415. I get really angry because I try every way I know how to make people understand the seriousness of this. This is America. And just like this woman that wrote this letter in, she had a weapon pulled on her and her husband. They'd raped a 13-year-old kid. Okay, this is what we're facing here. This is why we need help. We need boots on the ground. We need funding. We need a lot. We need supplies. And we got to depend on the American people for us to be able, to give these supplies and stuff to the men to keep them going. We're not there for a short term. We're there for long term, for whatever it takes, till we get the border wall built through New Mexico. The reason we have to do this and stay there is because the people on the border that are working with us, the cartel knows they're working with us, and they will kill these people if we pull out, because they have helped us. They've already killed ranchers down on our border. And one rancher in particular I've talked about before, they killed him because he was cleaning up the mess that they left behind. And the more boots on the ground, the better off we are, because we're the eyes and the ears for the Border Patrol, for the government, for the law enforcement. We hold them, and what they're doing now is they're coming across, sitting down, and saying, we need medical help. It's a whole different deal. But this is not the regular caravan. This is what the people that are trying to get in here now are doing. Their caravan is coming with force. They have MS-13, who we understand now, the MS-13 has been and being trained by ISIS. That's kept out of the news. Nobody's saying anything. We have had firefights on the border. The news hasn't said nothing. Nobody. What's wrong with this? They are hiding from the American people what is really going on in the United States of America and who is trying to invade our country, to take over our country. If they get to us on the border of New Mexico, they're going to be scattering everywhere, and you're going to be having firefights, and you're going to be trying to cover your own tail and save your family from these people because they don't care. They're coming in. You're outnumbered by them. You're not just outnumbered, but you're outgunned by them. You might have weapons and say, well, I'll die protecting my family. Why in the hell should you have to die to protect your family if you can send someone to the border or come to the border if you're a patriot? Or if you can send help to where we can have what we need on the border to protect the border. You know, it's like the Alamo. Nobody showed up. Well, this is the second Alamo is the way I'm looking at it. If we don't get the help we need on this border and the support of the American people that we need, then these men are going to die on that border. And there's going to be body bags that shouldn't have to be filled. Because the Americans should support Americans. Patriots should support patriots. That's what this country is about, taking care of each and every one of us. I don't know what else to do. I try every way I know how. Like one person, okay, live feed from David, Quintana. I don't think I'd be able to stand down or hold my fire if I walk up on a group of idiots raping a child. You know what? I don't think I could either, David, to be honest with you. Now, I've worked the border. I've been boots on the ground. I've been down there with the teams. I see what happens. But normally, you don't walk up and catch them. They are moving them, and it's when you got to stop them and hold them until the proper authorities can get over to you, which we have radio control. We have radios, more than enough for the people that are on the border where they have communication with the Border Patrol. These are shortwave radios. They are not regular CB radios. We have the means to stop them, hold them, and if they come in a force and they're firing, you're going to fire back. Nobody is going to be a target for these people. You have the right to protect yourself. That's not only the Constitution, but as an American, you have the right to protect your country. And that's all that I'm going to say about that. Matt Wall, he's a good friend of mine. He's trying to get here. I hope Trump lets down. I hope Trump takes down fake media. He's taking it down. There's more going to happen than people realize. This next week, you're going to see a change in history like you've never seen because of what Trump is doing. But in the meantime, we're still in the same situation. It hasn't happened yet. We have to have people where we have help. He can't send the military, not yet. However, we have been told that there are drones, armed drones that will protect us if we are attacked. We do know that they are blimps that in the air down there. We have David Miller down there on the border. He's one of my captains. And he's reporting to me if he sees anything. And he has seen some things, MS-13 and other things. But where the area where he is kind of slow, but it's not going to be slow very long. We have these men coming in that are broke down. They'll be on the border. Now, we're going to be able to cover maybe, when everybody is all here and the head count, everything, we might be able to cover 50 miles of that border. There's still 130 miles of it, or 140 miles. Well, let's see, it's about 130 miles of it that still isn't covered. We need help. We need anything you can do to help us. If you send us funds to help us, you can send them to the United Constitutional Patriots page on Facebook. There's a PayPal account set up there. You can donate through that. If you want to send supplies that you would use if you were out camping and you were going to be there a while, you can send supplies to United Constitutional Patriots. care of John Horton or Mark Cheney, Cheney, at Post Office Box 1334, Flora Vista, New Mexico, 87415. If you want to be boots on the ground, know what you need, know you have to have, call me. I'm John. Just call me at 505-334-2492. Now, we have a lot of people ask about weapons. What are you allowed to have? Excuse me. Well, you're allowed to have any weapon you want in this state. It's open carry state. You're not going to be challenged. But if you do have weapons, we got to make sure that you know what you're doing with them. You're trained with them. We don't want anybody getting shot by accident. But you can carry your own weapons, and most supplies and stuff we can't fully supply everybody, because we are working on donations for the border, helping for the border. This is what we're doing. So with that, I want to turn this over to Greg.
Oh, thank you, Johnny. Welcome out there, everyone. Hello. This is Greg Clark from the Love Tour out there. Yeah, I just want to remind everyone that, the United Constitutional Patriots isn't just a startup group. They've been here for a very long time. They've been protecting our border for a very long time before this ever became a big issue. And they do other things, they're boots on the ground, some of the first always there to every hurricane. They provide, whistleblower protection. Sometimes somebody's a whistleblower or in danger from the deep state, and they do that. So you can always keep United Constitutional Patriots in your prayers and in your tithing or whatever, however you give back to America. Please always thank the United Constitutional Patriots, because these are some of the best people and some of the best hearts, and they work all the time and they do it for free. Our staff here digs and digs to provide information to make sure that we have everything that everyone needs to know to keep this country secure. So this is just a fantastic group that works night and day, and I'm very, very proud of them, and I'm very proud to be part of them. So I just wanted to say that, and of course, this border thing is so horrific. I mean, I just can't. My thing is the children. Is mostly the thing. I don't want people bringing diseases in, and I talked about the drug devil's breath that they can bring into this country that would just would be a catastrophe for this country, where they can just spray a powder in your face and you become a zombie, and you'll empty your bank accounts, and every other horrible thing that you can possibly imagine will happen to you from there on. So, yes, this is a very, very, very important thing to help support the Patriots on the border at this particular time. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity, really, to either come down to the border and help out, or put United Constitutional Patriots in your prayers or in your monthly tithing. So just wanted to say that before I got on a little bit to what's going on in the news. My people, a lot of my followers, if you're at Love Tour Music Wave on Facebook, or one of my friends, you've been in this with me, a lot of people since 2013 or 2014. And so it's been a very, very long road of awakening and people learning about the deep state. And finally, we're here. So I think I feel joy all around me right now. I feel joy from so many people that are working hard to take down the deep state, whatever level they're on. And I think people are starting to see it happening now. There's been some really exciting things that just developed. We've had the Lisa Page testimony became public, and I thought that was really interesting news. Q had said that she rolled over on the DOJ, and she certainly did. She tried to blame it all on the DOJ. So I didn't think it was a complete rollover, because she did everything she could to protect her cronies at the FBI, and blame it all on the DOJ, and claim she didn't know anything about this and she didn't know anything about that. And now we know that, John Brennan was very involved with his handlers, and John McCain and Clapper into advancing this fake dossier full of horrible, salacious things that were all lies, just nothing but lies. And of course, we've had a couple of the Pfizer reports. There's also a few more that they haven't looked at yet, other Pfizer reports. So there's still more to come. But it looks like now that President Trump may wait till the Mueller report comes out before he declassifies, so he can really just rub it right in their face that all along this was nothing but an attempt to frame the president of the United States, a coup d'etat to try and overthrow the American government from a duly elected president. So yeah, there was some really interesting things coming out right now on the deep state, and this is just exciting time. I think a lot of us have noticed that a lot of people have been missing from their social media and Twitter, whether it's John Kerry or Joe Biden or choose your favorite criminal, basically. And I don't think that, and I think that this story on Ginsburg's probably fake. I think we all know that she looked like she was. Anybody who writes a paper saying that it should be okay to have sex with children under 12. That pretty much tells you all you ever need to know about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Anybody that thinks raping children is okay, and I think that she was probably involved in all that with Hillary Clinton and all the other deep state Democrats. So I think that she is probably in a tribunal right now. So regardless of what the fake news says. What else do we have? There was just a lot of really interesting things coming up on the deep state here. The hundreds of agents that took FBI bribes that you'll see on the scroll here. This is really a sad case because these were bribes to leak to the media, and it just shows you how deep the deep state is. This was just what did we have here? It says 60 just in Washington D.C. alone. So this draining of the swamp was beyond necessary because we can't have the FBI being organized crime, and we can't have the CIA giving weapons to our enemies. We can't have them smuggling children. We hear that Brennan was trafficking children as young as 3 years old. So that tells you what a scumbag that guy really is. Just look at his face; he's pure evil. And so these bribes to the media, like Johnny's saying, that when the media takes money from foreign governments to promote violence and maybe get people killed on fake stories they know are fake, this is not a First Amendment right. For example, I can't run into a movie theater and yell fire. That's not, I don't have a First Amendment right to run into a movie theater and scream fire. Now, do I? Well, that's just what they're doing is as bad or worse because they're inflaming these crazy people. Like we saw another crazy person that wanted to, take an attempt on the president, just got thwarted today, as Nuclear Warrior told you. So, this is really a situation when you look at this FBI, all these bribes that they were getting from all these media people to leak stories. It's just horrible. The whole culture really needs to be changed. So we see President Trump is going to drain the swamp. And also these agencies. If you read that story, he kind of sized it up really well with the story that Nuclear Warrior read to you earlier in the show. That basically, it's kind of like corporate America. Corporate America is based on don't take responsibility, stay out of the way, protect your job, never have a good idea that takes a chance and might really propel the company and make everybody more money. Don't ever do that. Just create more, just basically stay out of the way and produce nothing and don't do anything. And that way, we used to say that there's an old joke that we had in the cable TV industry was, how do you work for the phone company? And basically we said, number one, learn to avoid responsibility. And of course, back in those days, we were always fighting over fees. So the other thing was that we said you had to be a jerk. That was kind of the two things you had to get a job there. But that was our joke back in the day. But it's kind of true. And I found that with new technologies, as I've had these incredible new technologies that I've tried to advance that were just so great. And the problem is I was always dealing with corporate people, and none of them ever wanted to take responsibility for a good idea, even if it was a home run And some of these were technologies that were just no-brainers, but nobody in the company was willing to take a chance because nobody wanted to take responsibility. And if you've gone through some schooling, you know that the worst managers you can have are worried about job security. A manager that doesn't give a darn about job security is a great manager, because he's going to let it fly, he's going to take chances, he's going to learn, and he's going to grow a great company. But if your managers are only worried about keeping their job, you've got a real problem in your company. I'll tell you that right now. But so that's what's going on in the deep state right now, Johnny, is people are just thrilled. We are so happy with our president. I mean, he has done so many great things. I mean, I wouldn't even know where to start. But, one of the things was UNESCO and getting back our forests and our wildlife refuges that had been ceded to the United Nations under the UNESCO agreement. And I think we all know that we pretty much need to get out of the FBI. I mean, to get out of the UN, the United Nations, I'm sorry. We need to get out of the United Nations. Obviously, this is just an immoral network that believes in child marriages, and they're just a horrible thing that wants to take sovereignty from countries. So we're looking at the situation in England right now as another story hitting, and they want a Brexit. They do not want forced migration, and so May. She's deep state. She's a globalist. She's Rothschild, just like Macron, just like Merkel, just like Trudeau. And all these leaders, they don't know what to do, because the people have awakened. They're awakening. They're in this great awakening right now. And they realize they've been had, and they want to overrun their borders. They want to destroy their sovereignty. They want to cede to a one world government that basically wants to enslave you and eventually eliminate 80% of the world's population. So this is quite a battle, and we got to pull with England. I made the statement today that I think President Trump should say something about this yellow vest protester. They shot him in the head and killed him over in France. So now the United Nations wants to come in and bring troops in on protesters. And America historically has stood against this type of behavior. We've stood against it all over the world, and if nothing else, I think a statement might be in order. I'm not saying we have to send troops in there and deal with it, but I think we should definitely stand against it vocally and say that it's wrong, because limiting people's freedom of speech is wrong, and of course we in social networking know a lot about that. So, but I know I'm going in circles a little bit, but that's a little bit what's going on in the news. We're pulling with England, and we hope that March 29th comes around and the whole deal falls apart and they get out of the UN and they Brexit. And I hope other countries are going to get the idea and do some Brexiting of their own from the United Nations sovereignty, because these are the same people that backed Hitler. These are the same people that have tried to take over the world many times. This is Rockefeller that started the United Nations. And they've had the same one world communist government, or now it's whether you want it, now it's Muslim. Now they want the one Muslim world government. So whatever it is, it's always some crazy elite leaders that want to enslave us and take away our freedom and take away our prosperity and our wealth. So, I mean, if you care about your children, you need to really start getting involved with the Patriot movement. I know a lot of people will say, I don't like politics, this and that. Well, our very existence, our survival is on the line now. So this is the time to do it. So this is a really, really important time. But I'm just so happy with our president. He just keeps surprising us. This whole idea of getting rid of a lot of these non-performing employees, I find to be so exciting. I mean, so exciting. And getting out of the Federal Reserve, it looks like we're gonna redo that or get out of it, or whatever the genius of a president has in mind. We've just learned to trust him, because he's always smarter than we are, and he's always got the best plan. So we trust the plan, and we trust the president, and we're just so proud of our president. And us Patriots that have been fighting the last 4 or 5 years are just so happy to finally see results happening. So that's all I wanted to say, Johnny. Thanks for the time.
You're welcome, Greg, and thank you. Got a message here from Miss Gigi. She says, I'm feeling very scared. Ma'am, I don't try to paint a picture of a pretty. I try to put it out the way it is, the facts, the truth, and exactly what it is. And I don't say it to scare you. I'm telling the truth the way I do because I want to make the people in America aware of what is really going on in the truth. Now, you can, very seldom, I'm a strong believer in the Second Amendment rights, but I don't think I've ever said on this show, I brought in my personal opinions of the Second Amendment. But this is what I am telling every American that is listening to me. If you are listening to this program, share it as much as you can. Send it to all your friends, because I am telling everybody right now, and I hope that we can reach 1 million, 2, 10, 100, I don't care how many millions. It is time to arm yourself. Time to know what you're doing. Use your Second Amendment rights as a citizen and go down and get yourself weapons, get yourself ammunition, and survival equipment. It's going to come to it. Now, if Trump calls martial law, which we're already in a martial law, but if he calls a full martial law, or in his state of address that he's going to be doing, whatever he's going to be doing here shortly, here's what I need you folks to listen to. You need to make sure that you have plenty of water. You need to make sure you have plenty of dry goods, at least 60 to 90 days of it. Because when this starts, Trump's going to act. That's the only way I can put it. I can't go in any detail, but Trump's going to act. And the American people will not be able to go to the stores and do what they normally do. Keep your car full of fuel. Make sure that you have family that know how to find you or where you can all meet or go to a safe area. In fact, on some of the things you'll need here in a minute, I'll turn it over to Nuclear Warrior because he is, we have a list of stuff that we have for what we need on the border. On our United Constitutional Facebook page. A lot of this stuff you guys are going to need too, because when this happens, if there's any kind of a problem, you need to make sure you have candles, flashlights, batteries, things you're going to need for your own survival. Enough for everybody in the family. Watch your kids, take care of your kids, listen to your kids. Keep an eye on them, because it's kids that they're going to be going after for the same thing they're using to other people right now, that they're bringing in kids from other countries. And I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just telling you what to expect. If these people get through the border, and they're not just rushing the border, I understand, in New Mexico, they're going to try to rush the border all the way across. And it's not no 25,000 people anymore. There's more people coming in. We have boots on the ground in Mexico, United Constitutional Patriot members. They are actually going down there in Mexico. They are going down to the southern border to fight. I'm talking about combat, firefight, trying to stop these people from coming in from Central America into Mexico. This is happening as I'm speaking, but we are having firefights on the border as I speak. So, folks, this is not a flamboyant way of trying to get your attention. It's a fact. I'm trying to tell you the truth of what's going on. You need to listen. You need to act. And don't sit back and procrastinate, because if you do, you're going to find yourself in a situation you can't get out of. This is America. We need to stand together, stand up and stand tall and be proud. Be proud to say, I'm an American. Be proud of our flag. Be proud of our president. Be proud of our troops. Be proud of our patriots, our first responders, our police. When this all starts happening, the police are going to be your lifeline. Understand that. The local law enforcements of your areas are going to be your lifeline, because they're going to be the ones mostly protecting you, because everyone else is going to have their hands full. When you see an officer out there, shake his hand, thank him for what he does, Every day when he puts that badge on his chest and gets in that squad car and goes out, he doesn't know if he's going to see his wife and kids again. Look how many officers have been killed in the line of duty. It's never been like this, but it's happening. You need to stand with law enforcement. You need to get together with your people in the areas where you live. Have everybody on the same page to where if something goes on, you can band together and stand together. That's the only way you can beat this. And if you don't do it, then they're going to take you out. It's that easy. And it's cold. It's just cold facts. I'm sorry I can't make it any better for you or any clearer or paint a prettier picture, but it's reality. And it's for the first time that people in America are seeing it. They're seeing what's going on in third worlds. Well, it's come to roost in our own damn country. Wake up. I have a lot of friends I should say I had a lot of friends in my on my Facebook page that's been there for years. As soon as I started talking about Trump protecting America, standing for the flag, standing for the Constitution, kneeling for God, the first thing that happened, I started getting a whole bunch of hate stuff. And you know what? The delete button is very easy to use. Because if they can't stand for America, I can't stand for them. I'm not saying that if there's something happens and I'm not going to be there to protect them, if it's in my area, I am going to be there, Americans. But they need to get their heads out of the sand and realize what is happening in this country and where it's going to go to if we don't do something as Americans and unite and stand together and fight for what we have. Doc Robinson, you want to say something? Thank you, Pete. Appreciate it anytime Pete comes in. This is not a game, folks. I mean, I'm going to be blunt. Pull your head out of your ass and look around. Where are these Americans, patriots, veterans that said, if ever anything happened, they took an oath to protect our country, and if anything happened, they would be there to help us on the border. Now, they've been there to help us on other situations where we had to go to Texas on a situation we were called to help on. They have gone to, out to Oregon. They have gone to Nevada when things were happening. Where are they now when they're needed on the border of New Mexico, the only open border, and they know it's open? Where are they? Where are the men that claim to be patriots, but yet want to sit behind their damn computer instead and say, oh, I can't go nowhere. My wife doesn't want me to come down there. I might get hurt. What the hell is wrong with this? Little Rebel, you got anything you want to say?
Yeah, I posted those documents in this room. I put them on my page, and I'm going to put them on your Facebook page for the group, because you people need to read this. This is no joke. The plan for us, in a nutshell, they're still trying. And thank God we got Trump in, because he's the only side of patriots need to stand up, is standing between it happening and not, because until I'm waiting for these arrests to happen. But in the meantime, if you read this, you can actually see that this is what was going on, and it's scary. And now they had to go to a different plan because they wasn't expecting Trump to get in, and he did. They had to go to another plan. And that's what I believe these caravans coming up here baited. This is an invasion. This is not, they're not running from something. They're actually coming here, and they're not coming here to shake your hand and be your friend. So I don't know where I know some are actually on the border. Some, they're spread out. Some are I don't even know where they're at. Quiet. and plus social media, kind of like we've been having problems with that. But I encourage you to print those papers out, download them, and you need to read them. If I had more time, I would, but I did that today, and I'll be doing it again, because I don't know how much I can stress what the plan was, and it's in the vaccinations. So they definitely, it's basically what they have done and what they're still doing, and that's why the boys are becoming feminine. It's a nightmare. And but anyway, with these caravans coming up, see, they needed to dumb down and weaken the men in this country for a reason. And they're continuing with their plan because they're arrogant, just like wanting to be like the devil. He thinks he's gonna be God, but he's not. So but I do not give up your guns, whatever you do, because that's a step in their plan. So right now that's all I got to say, but please, people, we need everybody to start standing up, because if you don't, that's going to happen.
Thank you, little rebel. Okay, Ms. Gigi, you're very welcome, ma'am, but you don't need to be scared. Be cautious. Keep your eyes open. Watch your area. Watch for your friends. Watch your neighbors' places. You see anything that doesn't look right, call 911. Look out for yourselves, but look out for your neighbors too. Look out for each other. Love your neighbor. Be there for each other. And David, Quatana, you say you waited in your front door many nights watching for Dad to get home, San Antonio policeman in the 40s and 50s. Well, you know what? Your dad is one of the heroes of America to me. I got family, I got son, I got people that are also law enforcement. I work law enforcement myself. I'm going to tell you something. For families sitting waiting, hoping that phone doesn't ring when your family's on duty, even a soldier in combat, the worst phone call you can get is a phone call saying your son or your dad or your sister or your mother has died. I've been there. My son died for this country. He died in Desert Storm. He spilled blood for this country. People ask me why I do it. I spilled blood for this country. I laid in the Littleton General Hospital, Presidio, San Francisco for a year, being patched back together in a body cast to be sent back overseas again. I'm a Vietnam vet. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of what I did for this country. I'm proud that I stood up for this country, and I'm proud of every American that stands up for our country. Now let's stand together. You know, we've got 36 listeners, 37 listeners. I don't know. We have quite a few listeners tonight, and I appreciate each and every one of you. But I'm going to ask each and every one of you to match me, even though this is Patriot Group for the border. I want to challenge you, each one of you, to $20. I'll put $20 in the PayPal. I'm going to challenge all of our listeners to put $20 in our PayPal. That'll just be some more money to help the men on the border, because they need it, which I pull out of my pocket all the time to get things for them anyway. But I'll put it in, and you'll be able to see it in PayPal. I will put a $20 in there, because this is something that we need to do. It's not for me. It's for the men, so we can take care of them, so we can be able to get more night vision for them, so we can get more food for them. You know, this is not a game. Nobody gets these funds except the men going to the border or for equipment that they need. Nobody is on a payroll with the United Constitutional Patriots. We are licensed through the state of New Mexico, and we're also registered with the federal government as a humanitarian group. We've been doing this for 10, 15 years on the humanitarian part, and also being on the border. You know, I asked here about 3 years ago, we needed ATVs, we needed dirt bikes, we needed help with a lot of stuff when we were down on the border. And I was amazed. Within a week, The Patriots had the ATVs they needed. They had stuff needed, donated, and it was so quick, and it was all from the local area here. We didn't have the radio show then. And the way these people reach out to help the vets in New Mexico, I am so proud of them. Well, we need people to reach out and help us again, but we need them from everybody, not just in the state of New Mexico. It's not just state of New Mexico that's in trouble here, folks. The whole United States is. One guy could come across this border and go all the way up to, just example, to Washington State or New York, that's illegal. And because he got across, he killed somebody in your family. That's not a very good thought. Not everybody coming across that border is dangerous, but the ones that are coming across the border illegal, they got to be considered dangerous because of what they're doing and what their whole idea is. These people are coming burning the American flag, waving their country flag with arms, with disease, with gang members, known ISIS members, enemies of our country, Muslims, all of it together. And can you folks tell me that that doesn't put you in danger too? If it does, I want to know what mountain you're living on or what cloud, because you're up above everybody looking down, because that puts you out of the danger area if you're in the sky, and that's the only way you're going to be safe. That's a fact. People need to look at the truth, not at the myth, not at the lies that the lying news is telling, but look at the truth and what's going on around you and what's going on to our country. You want to sit on your hands and not do nothing? What the hell is wrong with this picture? Folks, you can't just trust God. God gives you the means and the knowledge on how to take care of yourself. He gives you the knowledge to send you to safety. And that is through thoughts you might have. You'll pray, and all of a sudden you'll have a thought, well, maybe, I should go over here where I'll be safe. Listen to those thoughts. That could be a sign from God. I look around and I see a lot of people that say they're scared. Or they're laughing, saying, oh, this isn't true. The news doesn't say that. The news is saying that Trump overreacted. We have witnesses. We have letters in here. We have testimonies from people who are living on the borders and going through this. Folks, please reach in your pocket and help us. I don't know how else to put it to you, but we have no control over something if we don't have a means to take care of them. And these men are putting their lives on the line for each and every one of you. Every one of these men have family, they have kids, they have wives. So a lot of them have walked off their jobs to be here to protect our country. This is what we're looking at. So if you want to make a donation, like I said, you can make the United Constitutional Patriots Facebook page. All you got to do is Google it. It'll pop up. We have a PayPal account on there. Like I said, I challenge everybody to $20. And if you check it tomorrow, you'll find that I have put $20 in myself. Like I said, I'm challenging everybody. Another thing, if you want to send supplies, you can send them to the United Constitutional Patriots, Post Office Box 1334, Flora Vista, New Mexico. Send that in care of John Horton or Mark Cheney, Cheney. Anytime somebody wants to go over our books to see where our money goes, you're more than welcome to see our books. We can account for every penny where everything goes, and you will see that it goes for nothing but the Patriots. If you want to be boots on the ground, you can call me at 505-334-2492. I'll tell you what we have to do. That's All that I can say, I've tried to make this people understand what the situation is. And you want to know something? Yes, for the first time in my life, Miss Gigi, I'm scared too. But I'm scared for America. I'm scared for what we're up against. Because the people do not understand or want to believe what is really, truly, honestly happening. If you want to see what the border looks like, we have videos that we took just recently, how open the New Mexico border is. There's families down there. They have never before had to worry about it, but now they don't go outside without a gun on their side. They don't sit and watch TV without a gun. For the first time, they're locking their doors. That's not the way you're supposed to live in America. And that's why when we get down there with everybody and all the troops, and I hope we can have 1,000 men by the end of the month. That's not going to happen, but I wish and I'm hoping. But we've got to be there for good until the wall gets up. Otherwise, the cartel down there, they know who helps who. And these people are helping us. And they're putting themselves on the line. If we pull out before that wall gets up, cartel will probably kill them. That's cold hard facts. This is, yes, this is from the live feed, outdated views. This is a hostile invasion. Time to mount up if you can. Man, I tell you what, She-Wolf, outdated views, couldn't have put it better. Thank you. This is the time, folks. And like I said, I am challenging each and every one of our listeners tonight and to share it and challenge their people. Just $20. You spend that much on cigarettes or going out on booze or just out screwing around doing nothing. This goes to a cause that helps people that are putting their lives on the line to keep you free. People have done it before. I took an oath in 1966. That oath stands with me. A lot of you out there have done the same thing. So with that, you want to take over, Nuclear Warrior?
Certainly, Commander. Well, the commander's right, and so is the outdated views. It's a hostile invasion, and it is time to mount up if you can. A lot of you younger folks, if you're listening, you probably don't get a lot of real history in school. The millennials seem to suffer the hardest from this so-called the core values. But you got to really look back. You got to look back to the foundation of this country in 1776. A lot of people were pretty much fed up back then and took it into the matters into their own hands. Decided to send the King of England a document stating that they were no longer going to be ruled by the monarchy. They were going to declare themselves independent and form their own country. That didn't sit well, and I'm sure a lot of people were scared when that all took place, the Declaration of Independence. A lot of people are scared right now. I think the difference is back then, the people had the insight to know what they were up against and what they were going to have to do if they were going to survive it. The first people that were involved with the resistance were the citizens. They armed up, and they were the first line of defense because we didn't have an army formed yet. They became the army. And that all went well for the most part. We became an independent country of 13 states. And several years later, back in 1812, England decided that they were going to try it again. So, what do you think happened? Well, the first resistance was again the citizenship, and by then we had an army, but couldn't rely solely on the army, and folks took up arms against their enemy again. we're kind of there again. We're fighting for our right to survive as a country, free, independent, and have rights as well as privileges. The rights are guaranteed in the Constitution. The privileges, we more or less have to try to convince our elected officials. Some of those are probably on their way out, tribunals, etc. But right now, our sole concern should not be with finding fault with our president. He's on the right track, where we will be in better shape once this is all said and done. We'll have a currency that's backed by things of value. We'll have a strong government again. But we need to make sure that we don't let outside forces enter the country and drag us all down. So if you can contribute, help the cause, please do. The whole goal of the last 30 or 40 years has been to dumb down the population so that they really don't know what it is to fight for their freedoms. The Common Core has been the downfall of the education system. Even Bill Gates himself, the mastermind of it all, says it was a failure. So now we've got that hurdle to overcome again as well, to re-educate the next generation the proper way. But right now, we can't even think about that until we're sure that the country is going to remain free, independent, and not be controlled by the United Nations if they get a foothold inside the country. They're part of this caravan coming up also. There's the embedded United Nations folks. And what do you think their purpose is? Their purpose is to assist and guide and help the caravan try to take over the country. We have to keep them out as well. So, like Outdated Views has stated, it's a hostile invasion. It's time to mount up if you can. If you value your freedom, if you value your rights, if you value your ability to have elected officials help you with your rights and etc., you need to get on board with the Patriots. Support the Constitution, support the president, support what he's trying to do, and pray for a good outcome for our collective endeavor and collective efforts. The time is now, folks. We're running out of time. We have to get on board and get on that border and keep them out, north and south. Because once they start their skirmishes on the border, they've got embedded people on the interior of the country. They're going to pop up and try to assist by causing red flag events to distract from efforts at the border, because they'll have to deal with efforts on the interior to strike them down. All I'm going to say now is if you cannot go to the border to assist, you cannot support financially our efforts to arm and protect the patriots that are going to the border. Prayers go a long way. Prayers with meaning. Pray like you never have before. So, here we are. We're at the precipice. Let's see what we could do to keep the country intact. With that, Gregory, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Oh boy, you all touched on so many things. There's a few things I'd like to add. But first of all, I think I can't remember if it was Little Rebel or She-Wolf was going to had the notes on the Agenda 2021 and the Agenda 2030, and this is what she's talking about. And she can post that on the United Constitutional Patriots page, and you can check that out. For those of you that are not familiar with this plan, it goes, I believe it goes back to at least Eisenhower when he spoke of that he was afraid of the Congressional Industrial War Machine. But it's a plan. And when President Kennedy took a look at what these secret societies and the United Nations and these people had in mind, he said that that there is a plan to enslave every man, woman, and child in this country. And before he left office, he was going to expose that plan. And then a week later, he got shot and died. So the plan has been going a very, very long time, and it's important for people to understand what that plan was. And as you said, it was to take over the education system. And hopefully you're all reading American Watersheds, AmericanWatersheds.com, and to learn your history, because a lot of this history is what has been cut out. But getting back to their plan was to basically take over education, erase your history, rewrite the history, not teach the Constitution. It's a lot of times it's what they're not doing, because they are doing a lot of good things too. They teach business well, and they do the best they can with science and all these different things. But when it comes to history and politics and the Constitution and vetting news, they're doing a really horrible job. In fact, they're telling people only listen to mainstream media, and this is where the dumbing down comes in. And you're laughed at if you use the internet and do your own research. So, my personal opinion was that, and I was saying this today, that I think the Agenda 2021 plan, which was also to take our natural resources, dumb down our education, take over our media, which they were very successful in taking over the media, and infiltrating the CIA into the media, which they've done very well. When you look on CNN, who do you see? All CIA guys. You had Brennan and Clapper and Cuomo, who's CIA. All these different CIA operatives operate out of the mainstream media, or as we found, they're also colluding with the deep state FBI, as we know now. So, but going back in history a little bit, I started with modern history, but I really believe, though, just to get this out, that I really believe that they had set us up for a war with North Korea, and they wanted a nuclear war, and whether they exercised that with a war with Russia through North Korea or with the Ukraine. I think we've already would have had that nuclear war. We know from Q that they sent a nuclear missile at Hawaii that the White Hats shot down. They sent a nuclear missile at Malaysia when Trump was there, which was also shot down. They've made 20 attempts on the president's life. Okay. They shot a missile at Air Force One. So there's just been one attempt after the next on the president's life. We've documented some of those you don't know about, but it's just been unbelievable that we are in this fight right now. You look at these sanctuary cities. I just had a funeral, and my aunt and uncle here were here from Seattle, and they said it's all Antifa, and Portland is all Antifa. And you see, they're taking us over, and Obama flew in black planes every night full of Muslim combatants and put them in these terrorist camps all across the country. So we were very, very close to losing this country. I know everybody says we all have guns and this and that. Well, let me tell you something. They pull in with a big army with automatic weapons and tanks. I'm sorry, but the average American's not going to be able to hold them off. Okay. So if you think you're just going to be a one-man army, I just don't believe that was ever going to happen. In fact, I don't even know if we were going to keep this country. I really don't. When the United Nations troops hit here, there was United Nations troops all over the country, and then President Trump got elected, and boom, they were out of here in a big hurry. But I just wanted to go back a little bit in history so that you could understand better. This deep state, they always select who we get to elect. So no matter who we vote for, it's always a lobbyist-backed candidate. And President Trump was an outsider, and this goes back to the beginning. I always talk about great uncle Martin Van Buren, who basically invented media by, buying a newspaper press and writing his own newspapers. And then he realized there was a new social media at the time, which was trains. And he decided the trains could take his newspapers, and people just love newspapers like that. You know how y'all love social media. Well, that was their social media. And you love your news. They love their news too. They couldn't wait for it. They loved it even more than you. So he was able to make the first celebrity and start mass media with the basic idea that they were selecting who we were electing, and he wanted an outsider populist candidate. There's many parallels to Andrew Jackson, who was the candidate that he made, and of course he made 5 more presidents once he figured all this out, and of course became a president himself. was also, governor, senator, Jefferson delegate when he was 18. But a really interesting person to read about in the American Watershed series, because he grew up in a tavern. He grew up with working people. He spoke languages. He was just a man of the people, and everybody absolutely loved Martin Van Buren. I mean, he was a really beloved person and just a really regular, down-to-earth guy like President Trump is. So I think that President Trump often harkens back to that, because some of the financial things and stuff like that also relate to going back that far in history. But we've been fighting this imperialism and this globalism for a very long time. In the 20s and 30s, it was the one world communist government that my grandfather, who started the unions, and that basically was fighting against. And the Ruthers, who went on to really make the UAW a lousy union, I have to say, because I grew up under the UAW, and there's a lot of horror stories of the things that the unions did, and I think probably all of us have some mob union stories. But the important thing to know was that without the unions, that you never would have had America. You never would have had a middle class. And as Marx said, that you will always have communism and revolution. But the one thing that Marx never fathomed was unions. And that's actually what prevents the cycle that Marx was talking about, was the eventual takeover of deep states and continual revolutions. So it really was the unions that freed America. So collective bargaining is a very important thing. When I look at the Walmart workers and, how they sign them up for EBT, when we were in the cable business, we were getting driven out by the programmers, the Hollywood people, because their costs weren't regulated. The price of programming wasn't regulated, but what we could charge for cable TV was regulated. So until 8,500 companies banded together and formed a union, then we were able to negotiate with the ESPNs and people like that. So that is there. I know a lot of people think that all unions are bad, but it's kind of like the government. The government's not bad unless we let it be. Unions aren't bad unless we let it be, but sometimes we have to decentralize power. When you have one federal government becoming big brother, it can really become dangerous to the freedoms of the country. And it's the same thing with the union. When you give too much power to the national union and don't keep your decisions local, then all of a sudden you open the door to let a deep state in and corruption in and those kinds of things. But I cover all that stuff in the book, and I tell you stories about Jimmy Hoffa and how the deep state really took control of the Teamsters, and how my grandfather fought it and eventually left the unions because of the corruption. And then he tried to take back over the unions and was defeated by my other grandfather, and all these different things. But you can read your history in AmericanWatersheds.com, and it's all written in comedy. And it's a good way for kids to learn, full of music and movie links. But we have to learn our history. We have to learn what the blood that people really spilled. And there's also through marriage, Francis Scott Key, and I give you that story. That's a great story. If you don't know that this country was born of a miracle of God, then you really need to go to AmericanWatersheds.com and read the real story. Of the battle at Baltimore, and what birthed the Star Spangled Banner and the national anthem, and why it means so much to us when we stand up to put our hand on our heart. You really need to know what that means. What it really means to what these people. I mean, they were holding up that flag with dead bodies. Okay, they would get knocked down, they'd put it back up, and the next morning, the entire British Navy just let go everything they had on that fort. And I'll tell you what, it was still there the next morning, and they could not believe it. And that was through a miracle of God. And God, once again, has come back to join this fight. And it just shows you that things got so horrible in the deep state that the world was going to be destroyed by nuclear war. Otherwise, the God of the universe wouldn't have got involved. And, and his son, Jesus Christ, that we all, our Savior. So, you have to understand these things. You have to understand your history, and the reason that you need to support patriots, and how the patriot movement, like Nuclear Warrior was saying, we were born of the patriot movement. You have to support the patriots. It's who we are, and we will always have to fight for our rights. They're never going to be given to us, and we'll always have to fight against the imperialism and globalism and those things. So, yeah, I think this is really important. I hope you go to United Constitutional Patriots page and read what she put on there about the Agenda 2021 and 2030, because taking over the natural resources, moving everybody to cities, the control of water, you know, and when all you had to do was look at these deep state fires that they did out there, included with these politicians in California. And our show, it gave you very good evidence of all these lasers from helicopter, pictures from helicopters, pictures from the ground, videos. I think we proved conclusively that these were done by the deep state, these laser fires out in California, with a long-term plan of mismanagement of the forests. And I think that, we were the first to break that story, but come to find out, it was actually the Chinese that were overriding our systems a little bit. It was not our military doing it. It was the Chinese, and it was the deep state in California, working with them to get these federal funds that they could steal. And they were willing to burn down people and kill people and all those things. So it just shows that these Democrats, they have no morals. They have no morals. These people are sociopaths. If you're not a sociopath, you don't get to be one of the ones that they put in to select to elect. You almost have to be a sociopath. So when you see child traffickers like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and John Brennan and Clapper, and you know what they all have in common? Every single one of them is a sociopath. Okay. So I think that's the reality. And when you realize that we are fighting Hitler, that's what we're fighting. So I just wanted to let you go there. I see you got something to say there, nuclear war. I probably talked long enough, but go to the United Constitutional Patriots page on Facebook and check out that Agenda 2021-2030.
Go ahead, nuclear warrior.
Thank you for all that, Greg. It's good backup for my Patriot speech there. I can always use good backup like that. From the live feed, Jim Gallagher posts that Bill is still looking for that ride. He lives in Elk City, and he says, hurry. So Elk City is in Oklahoma. Anybody in that direction that is thinking about moving down to the wall for a bit, see if you can give Bill a ride down. He has equipment to bring as well, which that makes him a very important asset to the efforts at the border. And David Quintana again. Frankly, what is happening now will be in the history books if we win. If we do not, we will be written out of history as enemies of the state and painted as monsters. And he is very correct on that matter. So back over to the commander. Now that he's off the phone, he probably has a few things to add.
Yeah, well, I think everybody's pretty much covering everything. And while you were talking, I went in and checked in our, because I was going to see if we had any updates on our PayPal. And we've had an anonymous donor, very generous. Thank you so very much. And we had another donor that was very generous. I want to thank you too. Actually, I was checking on some things, and when I didn't actually hit the button on purpose because I was trying to get into another page. But anyway, thank you on the donations, and to all of our listeners and everybody out there, I am challenging everybody to a $20 donation. I don't know how else to do it. And like I said, tomorrow you can check that $20 that I'm donating will be in there. If you want to donate, you can go to the United Constitutional Patriots Facebook page. You can Google it. It'll pop up for you, no problem. And you can make a cash donation there. If you want to send gas cards, Walmart cards, blankets, socks, clothes, dry goods, flashlights, radios. I'm talking about two-way radios. Anything that these guys can use on the border to keep themselves warm at night, because nights do get cold down there. They're living in tents. They're cooking in tents. These little camp stoves and stuff that you can get at Walmart, they can use them. That helps them heat their coffee or whatever they want to do. While they're out there, they can heat water. You know, do what I've always called a hillbilly bath if they have to until they can get in. They're in the field for a week, and then they're at our base camps for a week, where the locals help with food, help them do their laundries. I mean, the people down there on the border of New Mexico are just really great people, and they're scared to death, and they want our help. And I can understand why. I've been there. I've seen it. These people, I've already explained about as much as I can. What the situation is, folks. So what I'm going to do is, anybody else have anything to say? Well, Chuck, if you would say the prayer, and then I'll do the closing of the show, if you don't mind, sir.
All right, sir, we can do that. Lord Jesus, we come before you at this time, come before your throne. We thank you, O God, for this yet another opportunity that we've had to come here and continue this great work that you've given us to do, of informing the American people, of defending our border, defending our president, defending our country. We thank you for the opportunity to do these things, and we're thankful for the confidence that you have in us, that you gave us the job. We're thankful, Lord, for all of our listeners who come here each and every show to listen to this information that we have to share. We thank you, Lord, for this great team that we've assembled here that work hard each and every day putting together the intel and the information that we bring forth on this program. And we thank you for every one of them, because each one is a very valuable piece of our puzzle here to making this whole thing work. We especially want to remember our friend Pete tonight, as he is having some severe problems with his back. I know how that works because I have them too. And we ask you, Lord, to reach down and touch him, give him healing in his body, give him strength in his body, and give him peace in his mind, his heart, and his spirit. We ask you, Lord, now to continue your watch care over our president and over his family and all those that are working together with him to the betterment of our country and the defeat of the deep state. We ask you, Lord, to let your blood of protection be upon him and on each and every one here. Let your angels be encamped around him, stand and watch over them. We ask you, Lord, to continue to remove the wicked and the corrupt from our government. That's your agenda, and we know it's your agenda might continue to go through. And as always, Lord, we ask you to continue with us now throughout this night and into the coming days. Continue to guide us, guard us, and direct us, and draw us ever closer to one another and ever closer to thee. For we do ask it all in Jesus' holy name. Amen and amen.
Amen, and thank you. She-Wolf, did you have something to say?
No, sir. I was just putting up what he had.
Okay. Well, folks, I want to thank Matthew. Thank you for taking my challenge. Mr. Cummins, or Cummins Cook, I'm glad to see you on here again tonight. God bless you. Thank you. I want to thank the American people that do support us. I am, as you can tell tonight, probably, folks, you can tell that I am just really physically getting worn out. Thank you, David Stark says, God bless and keep safe our President, United Constitutional Patriots. I appreciate it so much, sir. Thank you. I want to thank the law enforcement. I've got friends in the retired sheriff deputies and the retired detectives that are supportive of us down there in Louisiana, like I said, down at St. Bernard Parish. It's always a pleasure to know you're in here. You're good people. Thank you, JB and Walter. God bless you too, sir. We have the Mojave County Sheriff's Department out there. Doug Schuster is the sheriff. Very good patriot. Very good man. If you ever get out that direction, Kingman, Arizona, stop in, say hi. He's a open door sheriff, 100% for the Constitution. He's constitutionalist like our sheriff here in San Juan County. I want to thank again every officer out there that is working, putting his life on the line for the American people to keep us safe and free. And I want to thank the military. I want to thank all of our patriots, first responders. These are the people that are there to keep you safe. But more than all, I want you to keep President Trump in your prayers and pray hard for him for his safety. He is not just the greatest president in my heart that I feel, but I think he's the greatest president in history
we've ever had.
And yeah, like Faye just said, the best one we've ever had. And I really believe this. So he needs your prayers really bad. And folks, I got word tonight or yesterday that a really good friend of mine, Stonewall Jackson, his wife died. She was just a sweetheart. Say prayers for Stonewall. I put up a prayer line on him for him and his son. She was 81 years old. One of the nicest ladies you'd ever want to meet, like Stonewall Jackson is. He's about as down to earth. We've done things together over the years. And Stonewall has a lot of health problems too. And he needs your prayers also. So with that, folks, I want to say when you're out and about, keep your head on a swivel. Watch for things that aren't right. Get with your communities. Form some kind of a coalition where everybody is watching everybody. You know, something's not right. Whether a child tells you about it or an adult tells you about it, if it's not right, call 911. Don't take any chances. It's too much going on now, and it's going to get worse. And again, I hope you folks out there that are listening will take my $20 challenge, because this money is for the border people that we have down there that's putting their butt on the line for you, that's sleeping in tents in the middle of the damn winter down on the Mexican border of New Mexico, watching, trying to keep us safe. And there are in actual combat, there are some combat firefights going on down there. Pray that this doesn't go so far. It's not going to be good. And thank you, Mary Murray. I appreciate it. We just have so much. Jim, thank you. Jim Gallagher, better known as Bill. Like I said, Bill's down in Elk City, Oklahoma. He's got about $400 or $500 or more of stuff he needs to get to us. His vehicle is down. He needs a ride up here and somebody who can help him get here. He's right on Interstate 40. He's approximately, I'd say, 6 hours from us, and we can't get him up here. He can't take a bus because of all of the stuff he's got. So if you have any way of getting Jim up here, give me a call, please, at 505-334-2492. Anybody that wants to be boots on the ground, wants to help, wants to do their part, wants to help protect our country and your loved ones, call me at 505-334-2492. If you want to send donations, send them to the United Constitutional Patriots, care of John Horton or Mark Cheney, Cheney, Post Office Box 1334, Flora Vista, New Mexico. Again, Anybody want to make donations, you can go to the United Constitutional Patriot page on Facebook, Google it, and you can make direct donations through there. Any and everything we can get for these men is highly, highly appreciated. I want to say good night to all of you. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6 o'clock. If we're not on, it's because we're having trouble with the YouTube giving us problems. I think we've got them straightened out. But one way or the other, we will be on Mondays and Wednesdays nights. So just keep an eye out. Normally it's 6 o'clock to 6:15 before we get on. But if it's later than that, it's because we're having trouble with the server. So with that, I appreciate you. God bless each and every one of you. You're all in our prayers. And I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Good night. God bless you. God bless our president. And God bless America.
Thanks for watching United Constitutional Patriots Radio. Our next show will be on Friday at 6 p.m. Western and 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Western and then 6 p.m. Pacific. So we will see you guys on that day, and have a great night, Patriots. The reason why I'm not doing good at talking right now because I'm feeling really well today. So have a great night, and God bless everybody.